Hey everybody, I want to give you another update. I'm working on getting a mule shod today, and I want to share that with y'all. Now keep in mind, these mules hadn't been shod but twice. This is the second time, and they ain't pros yet, so we're still learning. They're learning, and I don't profess to be no farrier, but I have shod a few in my day. So we're getting by, me and the mules both. The way I do it is I shoe 2 feet per animal and I swap them around. I don't want them to stay in the shoeing stock too long at a time. It just gives them a break. It's easier for them, it's easier for me, you know, because anything you can do that makes it easier on them, if they're doing better, I'm doing better, you know. So I do two feet on one mule, then I go get the other mule and swap them around and do 2 feet on that mule, and then I just keep swapping them until I'm done. And that seems to work out pretty good for me. And it does 2 things really. One, it gives the mules a break, which makes them a little easier to handle. And then 2, it gets them used to going in and out of the shoeing stock a lot better. I like mine. I like to be able to lead them up to the shoeing stock and let them load themselves in it, just like I do a horse trailer. I like to be able to lead them up to the back door, let them get in on their own. That's the way I like to do it. Now look, everybody's got their way of doing things. We talked about this before. I don't profess to be God's gift to mules or horses. I just do what works for me. And I want to share that with y'all, show y'all how I do it. And we're putting heeled St. Croix shoes on with some Drill Tech on the toe. So I hope y'all enjoy this video. I may have to kind of speed through it because it's a lengthy process. I'm pretty slow at shoeing, I'll just be honest with you. For one, I'm fat and I'm out of shape, but I'm kind of slow. I like to do a good job and I have to take my time. So I may have to kind of speed the video up to get through it, to keep it from being so long. But y'all can skip around to whatever you want to see. The mule in the stock on this video is going to be Alice. She's probably, out of the 2 mules I'm shoeing, Kate and Alice, my team, my logging team, Alice is probably the worser one of the bunch. You know, Kate does pretty good. But I wanted to show y'all Alice and what I do, how I handle her. And she's going to get better and better every time, y'all. You know, next time she'll be easier. And this time she was better than last time, believe it or not. She didn't move around as much. I did take some duct tape, put some duct tape right there on her nose. That helps. I found that to help a lot in the past. And I put some duct tape on her nose, and that did help. But next time she'll get better, and then the next time she'll get better. And, you know, every 6 or 8 weeks we'll be shoeing again, and she'll just get better and better. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for all the comments. Thank you guys for the ones of you that has subscribed and has helped push our channel forward. I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate every one of you. Thanks for everything you do for me. Y'all have a good one and enjoy the video. Now y'all see how much she's moving around. She ain't wanting to stand on 3 legs. Like I say, now Alice is a coming 3-year-old mule. She handles her feet fine. As far as, you know, if you ask her to pick up her foot, you know, whatnot, that ain't no problem. The problem is when you want to get her to hold that foot up for you for a while. And here's the deal, y'all. I mean, there's 100 ways you can train a mule or a horse to hold his leg up, and most all of them work. But I've got a job to do. We don't have time to stand around and train. Getting these mules to hold their legs up for me. So, in the meantime, we're going to use the sock. At night when I feed them, I hold their feet up and this and that helps a lot. I haven't been able to do so much lately because of my knee surgery and everything, but I'm back on the stick now pretty good and can fool with them and handle them and this and that. And these young weanling colts I've got, coming yearling colts, they need to be handled more than my bigger mules do. But for now, we're going to use a shoeing stock because it makes it easier on me, it's safer, and it's easier on the mule. You see those chains and stuff, they can lean on them and whatnot, and it helps them out as well as it does me once they learn it. But this is only her second time in the stock, so I want y'all to remember that. Now, I just got done trimming her frog, and I don't have anybody to help me video, so I've just had to set it up there on a drum, and I can't control the zoom and all that. I would like to, so I could zoom in and actually show y'all what I'm doing. But I just got through trimming her frog up. Now I'm taking my raft and I'm just getting her foot, leveled up, getting ready for the shoe. Now, one thing I did do to kind of help mitigate some of the moving around and being antsy is I put a piece of duct tape on her nose, and that has helped. I've done that in the past a few times, and that helps. I mean, it won't alleviate all of it, but it'll take care of some of it. Now, right there, she nipped at me with her mouth. She's getting aggravated, getting kind of mad. So that's why I reached around there and kind of popped her a little bit, because she's got to learn not to do that. That's a no-no. She just getting mad and aggravated, and she don't like it. But she's got to learn it, y'all. I mean, they all do. They got to start somewhere. And up till I bought these mules, they hadn't had their feet handled a whole awful lot. The Amish guy that broke them, that started them, he did handle their feet some, but not a lot, and they didn't shoe them either. So that makes a big difference. But I shot this video primarily to show y'all. I want y'all to have a comparison for later. Maybe 6 months from now, we'll do another video, and I want y'all to see the difference in how she stands today, and then in 6 months how she'll stand. It'll be a lot different. Now, mules' feet are more stood up than horses are. In other words, they have a lot more heel and less toe. And a lot of that has to do with the angles of their shoulder. A mule's shoulder is more stood up than a horse. And in return, a mule will tend to carry its head just a little bit higher than a horse will, just kind of naturally. And here I'm selecting a shoe size. Trying to figure out which shoe I want to use. Again, these are the St. Croix heeled shoes, and I believe Alice wore an alt, or it might have been a number 1. I think she was a number 1. It wasn't a real huge shoe, not compared to draft horses anyway. Those draft horse shoes are really big compared to these, and it cost about half as much to shoe these mules as what it costs to shoe a draft horse. Now I'm getting my shoe out of the oven. I've got it heated up where I can shape it. And I'm just going through the shaping process. This is probably, out of the shoeing process, this is probably the most difficult part for me, is getting the shoe exactly like it needs to be to match her foot. The one rule of thumb that I've always been taught is you never ever match the foot to the shoe. you trim the foot and get it like it needs to be, and then you match the shoe to the foot, not the foot to the shoe, in other words. So I've already cleaned her foot up. You know, her frog's trimmed, her foot's been trimmed down, I got the angles right. I cleaned up around the outside, and now I'm shaping this shoe to make it match her foot. And there I was checking it to see if it was level. You want to get that shoe flat. You don't want to have no bends in it or, you know, curves or nothing like that. You want the shoe to be flat, to where it go on the bottom of her foot, you know, it won't cause no stress areas. Now, in between checking the shoe, after I start shaping it, and I want to check it just to see if it's going to fit, I let her put her foot down, you know, to give her a break. I don't just tie her leg up there and hold it the whole time, because, you know, it's hard on them, you know. They don't like this no more than I do. And, you know, it's uncomfortable for both of us, so I try to sympathize with the mule a little bit. And whenever I'm doing something like shaping a shoe or putting drill tech on or something like that, I try to give them a break and let them put their feet down. And again, I only do 2 of their feet at a time. I do like, on Alice, I did her 2 front feet. Then I put Kate in the stock, I did her 2 front feet. Then I went back to Alice and did her back feet. And I just kept swapping it around like that. So that way they're not in the stock very long at a time, if that makes sense. Now here I'm burning the shoe on. I let the shoe cool off a good bit because I didn't want it real hot. I didn't want to really burn it on hard because I don't want to take any more foot off than I absolutely have to. At this point, I'm just taking a little bit off at a time until we get it just right. Here, I'm just checking it to make sure I've got it shaped right. You know, get it just right on her foot, you know, before we go to nailing it on. I want it to be right. And again, y'all, I'm slow. I'm not the fastest at this. It takes me 30 to 45 minutes a foot just to get, you know, to get one of them done. I'm pretty slow, but that's the process so far. Sometimes I'll have to, you know, I'll wind up checking it 3 or 4 or even 5 times, you know, making adjustments to the shoe, come back, check it, go make some more adjustments to the shoe, come back and check it, you know, and it may take me, you know, 4 or 5 times to get it right sometimes. Now here I'm going to let her put her foot back down. I'm going to go get the shoe ready to throw in the oven so we can get some drill tech put on it. Now the first thing I do with my shoe is I stick it in there, and right there I'm pulling it out. But I already had the shoe in the oven. I got the toe just a little bit warm, you know, kind of cherry red. Now I'm taking a creaser and I'm putting a crease in the toe area of the shoe. And I'm going to show you all that crease right here in just a second. I want y'all to see it. And that's going to be the part that the drill tech actually forms to and sticks to. It gives it a little more surface area whenever you put that drill tech on there and you hammer it down. And I forge weld my drill tech on. I'll show you all this process right quick. Now I'm putting some flux powder on the crease. Right there's the drill tech rod. I'll cut it to length with bolt cutters right here. And then I just take that little piece and I lay it right on top of that crease. I guess I didn't show you all the crease, and I'm sorry about that. I got it confused with maybe something else I was doing. But anyway, that's what it looks like. See that little piece of drill tech on there? Now I'm going to stick it right back in the oven underneath the burner. and I'm gonna let that thing get hot. And it'll get to a point that you'll see it, if you'll watch it from the side, it'll get hot enough that you'll actually see it change colors. Now here I got to goofing around. I went over there and was petting on Alice and wasn't really minding my business like I ought to, and I let that thing get just a little bit too hot. And when I pulled it out, it was smoking. I was just goofing off and wasn't paying attention to what I should have been. Now you can see it smoking there a little bit, and that's not right. You don't want that. That's a little too hot. I dealt with it, and it worked out fine, but still, you don't want it quite that hot. You want to pull it out before it gets to that point. Now there, I'm just taking the drill tech. I'm using the rounded side of my hammer, and I'm just kind of forming the drill tech around the toe of the shoe, and then you hammer it down on there, and that'll forge weld it to it. It'll be there forever. For the life of that shoe anyway, put it that way. And y'all, this drill tech really helps out on the asphalt. The heeled shoes work good in dirt, you know, like for logging and farming. But when you get them on asphalt, if you don't have drill tech on them, them shoes will go to slipping. That steel on that asphalt's like, you know, it's like mud. But the drill tech toe, it saves the toe for one thing, and then two, it gives them a lot more traction on asphalt. And I'm gonna bring it here and let y'all see it here in just a second. I'm gonna dip it in water there to quench it. I let it cool before I quench it in water. I just leave it on top of the anvil for a while and let it kind of cool a little bit, and then I soak it. But y'all can see that drill tech on the toe there. It ain't the prettiest because I let it get hot, too hot. And you don't want it to get that hot. But I think I added some more at the end of the video to show y'all what it actually should look like the proper way on one of the other shoes I did. Here I'm just getting ready to nail the shoe on. This part is a very delicate process because you want to make sure you get it just right. And a mule's foot is a little harder to nail into, mainly because a mule don't have much flare on its hoof wall. A mule's hoof is about straight up and down on the sides, and it can be a challenge to get your nails in, you know, just right and get them to come out at the right place. I like my nails to come out a little high. I like to drive them on in a little deeper. You get a little more meat to hold, you know, to hold it. And she's getting antsy there. Again, like I say, this is her second time, so she don't know what's going on yet, but she'll get better. But anyway, I like to have more meat for the shoe to hold to, so I like to drive my nails up a little higher probably than some. And I've never lost shoes in between shoeing cycles, and I can go usually about 8 weeks, and then I try to do it again. Of course, this last time it's been a while because I've been out with knee surgery, and those shoes had been on for, Lord, they had been on for about 3 months, so a little longer than they should have been. Driving these nails in a mule's foot is just, it takes a lot of practice. There's definitely an art to it, and I'm by far not the best at it, y'all. Now, I'm just going to tell you, there's a lot of farriers out there that are way better at this than I am. And, you know, I'm sharing this not as a how-to video, but basically as a just follow along with me video, you know, along our journey. You know, there's a lot that goes into getting ready to go to the woods, and this is part of it. It has to be done. You know, every bit has to be done. And, you know, I'm kind of sharing this as a just follow along with me type deal, not a how-to, because, you know, I'm not the best at this. I enjoy doing it to a point. It is a lot of work, and for all you farriers out there, if there's any of y'all watching, my hat is off to every one of you. This is some of the hardest work that I believe I've ever had to do. It's a good, honest work. It's an honest trade, but man, it's tough work now. It's rough on your back, rough on your legs. I mean, rough on your hands. It's rough work, but it's honest work, and it's good work. You know, you're helping animals out, you know, protecting their feet. I shoe mostly for traction, and you know, the two reasons to shoe is for traction and then corrective shoeing, you know, in case you got one that's got a bad foot or whatnot. But I shoe for traction because in the wood, you know, when you're asking them to pull heavy loads, especially like in mud or on rock, something like that, you know, you don't want them slipping. And y'all, I can tell you, if a mule or a horse ever goes to slipping, they're going to safety up on you. They're going to start short stepping, kind of like we do whenever you hit a block of ice during the winter, or if you get in some mud, you know, you'll go to short stepping and safety up. Well, a mule or a horse will do the same thing, and they'll quit pulling on you. They just ain't going to give you everything they got when they feel themselves slipping. So this is a good reason to shoe. You get a good set of shoes on them where they can dig in and they'll give you more. Now, as she's throwing a fit, I just kind of pause and let her do her thing, and then after she settles back down, I go back to doing my thing. And that's kind of part of it for now. I mean, like I say, we're going to work on handling her feet, but we got a job to do too. So it's got to be done. You know, I'm not going to get out here and work them without shoes on them because it'll wear their feet down too much. And like I say, they'll go to slipping. We got a job to do, so we got to get her done. And this is the way you do it. This shoeing stock is a lifesaver in this certain predicament. I'm not going to say I would use it as a crutch all the time, but it definitely is a back saver, and it's a lot safer to use if you got one that really don't want to be shot, if that makes sense. And I've had to reset my nails a couple times because, like I say, it's very hard to get a nail in there and get it just right. So sometimes I have to just pull it right back out and start over. Now here I'm taking my nail cutters. I'm going to cut my nails off flush where they come out of her hoof wall. And then right after I cut my nails off, I'll get my clinch block and I'll come back and I'll hammer them down real good and turn them out 90 degrees with the clinch block so I can get a real good tight set on it. It'll get the shoe real good and tight. And then after I use my clinch block and get them turned out 90 degrees, I'll come back with my clinchers and I'll clinch them down tight. Ooh. Yeah. Quit. Let's do that. Whoa. I know it. We're almost done. I don't like it no more. You do. Quit now. Quit. Done. All right. Quit. Settle in. Now we're going to drop her foot back down, let her have a break, and I'll apply some hoof treatment. That hoof treatment encourages regrowth. It kind of seals their foot and it's just good for their foot. I can't tell you the science behind every bit of it. I just know it works really well to help improve their feet. I can tell a big difference since I've started using it. And I think the kind I'm using, I believe it's called Farrier's Formula. I believe I bought it at Tractor Supply. But any hoof treatment like that, you know, is better than nothing, I think. Ooh. Be nice now. Shoeing ain't easy, especially when you got one that don't really want to be shod, but she's shod anyway. Good girl. Settle down. All right, now here I'm doing another shoe, and I just wanted to show y'all how I do it. First, we're going to heat the toe. Once the toe is cherry red, it don't need to be glowing, it just needs to be cherry red. And again, we're forge welding Drill Tech on the toes. Now I'm going to take my creaser. I'm going to make a crease in the toe. I'm going to run my crease all the way around the radius of the toe. That'll help the Drill Tech have surface area to stick to. Once I've got my crease set, and I believe in this video here, this part of the video, I'm actually going to show you the crease so you see what it looks like. Yeah, see that crease there? Alright, now I'm going to take some flux. That's my flux powder, and I believe that's Iron Mountain flux powder. Put some of that right there on that in that crease. That's going to help make things stick. And then you cut your Drill Tech. Comes in a stick. Just cut you a piece of Drill Tech off about how long you know, whatever you want. And then once you get that Drill Tech cut, you just place it there on top of it, and back in the fire it goes. And then you want to make sure you watch it so you don't get it too hot. And I'm going to let y'all watch it with me this time so you can see what I'm talking about. Y'all see how it's right there on the end? I just laid it across the toe. Now we're going to put it in the fire. And this little Forge Master forge is awesome, y'all. I love this thing. Anyway, we're looking at it from the side there. I don't know how good y'all can see it. I tried to capture it. But that thing, if you watch it close from the little side window, you'll see that that Drill Tech. You'll see it turn a bright yellow color, and it'll actually, you'll know. It'll be like a cherry red, a real bright cherry red, and then it'll start going yellow, and that's the time you want to get it out of the fire, right then. And then it's ready, you know, it's just starting to melt. That's the point where you want it at. Then you take the rounded side of your rounding hammer, and you just tap it down. You don't hit it hard, just tap it down and kind of form it to the toe like you want it. And then after it cools a little bit, then you can hit it a little harder and a little harder as it cools. And then what I do is I leave it on the face of the anvil and I let it cool off there for a little bit. Because if you go dunking in water right to begin with, sometimes that can cause it to come separate, can come apart. But I'll leave it on the anvil there for just a little bit, let it cool off. And then usually I'll go pull her foot back up. And then once I pull her foot back up, you can see, if you look back there in the background, you can see that duct tape on her nose. That's kind of funny. But anyway, I'll leave it on the anvil, go pull her foot up, and then once I come back, it's cooled off enough to quench it in the water, to get it cool enough where you can actually touch it and handle it. Anyway, I hope y'all have enjoyed this little video we got to do. You know, we're looking forward to getting back to the woods, and I'm ready to take y'all with me. So thanks for watching, and appreciate everything y'all do for me. Y'all take care and have a good one.